Let's go now. I want to talk about now what do a father do? And one of the things it said, I'm coming to you, Jimmy. It said, be respectful and appreciative. Be in a respectful and appreciative relationship with the mother. Now we know baby mama drama. There's a lot of baby mama drama out there. How do you remain respectful and appreciative for the child when you get so much drama from the baby mama? How do you deal with that? How can Falls help us with that?
Well, what the Falls tries to do in responsible fatherhood, we have a class. It's not a domestic violence prevention class. It is that if you think trouble is going the wrong way, walk away. Because the way the court system is, if you get in an argument with a woman, you going to jail. And that's where it starts. You get your first time in jail. If that is your baby, learn to walk away. You could call us at 813-895-0033. But walk away and listen to somebody else. That's what counseling, that's the first thing to do, is walk away, because you don't want the drama. You walk away from drama and you save yourself a lot of trouble.
That's very good. You hit it on the head, because I'm telling you, they have in Hillsborough County have one of the most stringent domestic violence department. They prosecute you verbal domestic violence. They can hear you using profanity. You can end up going to jail just using profanity with the woman. So you have to be very, very careful. Let's go now to Imam Siddiqui. I want to talk about how do you balance. See, a lot of drama come from when a father want to be in his child's life, and he want to discipline the child, and the mother don't want to discipline the child. So how do you balance disciplining the child and letting the child grow up and have fun?
Well, you know, you get into this thing about institutionalized racism or institutionalized the ability where you can't function as a person. And this is what has happened, because if you end up disciplining your child and you're turned into the police or the criminal system, they can come and they can take that child away. That's just happened in St. Petersburg, where a father disciplined his child and the child was taken out of the home. And he really didn't abuse the child at all. He just was putting the child in a proper place. Now, what we have in the African American community, where 60–70% of the households are without a male.
That's right.
And then you have these African American boys that are very active. They're putting most of them on Ritalin and calling it ADT very early in schools, because there's a hyper problem there. And so when these kids get 13, 14, 15 years old and they're 6 feet, 6'1", 6'3", kids are not like they used to be.
That's right.
Now the mother has a problem because she can't discipline the child, and so this boy goes out and he comes home. Now I'm gonna give you an example. Kid came in 13 years old, 12:30. The mother said, "Where you been?" He goes in his room. She comes. She said, "Get out of my." He told her to get out of my room. Just get out of my room. Then when she tried to discipline the child, she was turned into the child protective custody, and they disciplined. So how do you discipline your children when the law is unjust?
Very good. That's very interesting, because we have to definitely have to have discipline in the child's life. Let's talk about now, Pastor Johnson. I want to go to you. There's no rite of passage in the African American community. In our African tradition, we had it. We saw it in Roots, when the boy had to go out and build a drum and have to go from boyhood to manhood. Now, when the role model as a man in manhood is very important, because when the little boy, he need to know what a man look like, and the little girl need to know what a man look like, so when she get ready to choose, like Hakeem said, choose better husband, she can know how to choose. And a lot of women choose a man in their life based on what kind of man they had as a father. I would like of a father, that's right, I would like of a father. How do we get programs, and maybe from your tradition in the church, that we have a program that teach boys how to be a man?
You know, you bring up a very good point. You know, like I said, originally the plan was for this all to take place, for fatherhood to take place within the confines of marriage. Well, practically, we know that that's not the case. Anybody with eyes can look, let's keep it real.
That's right.
Anybody with eyes can look around the community and see that's
right.
not what's going on.
That's
so
right.
What do we do? I think you're right. We must provide role models for our children. And how do we do that? We do that by going to churches developing rites of passages programs, our fraternities, our sororities developing rites of passage programs. Even if you're not in anything organized like that, find a young man in your community and be a role model for him. Mentor him, talk to him, You know, I know dealing as a man in the public school system, you know, there are a whole bunch of little boys who need role models. Things like how to tie a tie. My great-granddad taught me how to tie my tie because my father wasn't there. But thank God he was there to show me how to tie my tie, how to keep my pants up around my waist.
That's right.
To make me take the garbage out so my sister didn't have to do it. There has to be somebody in the community to do that, and if it's not there in the home, then we as a village need to come together and provide those role models.
It take a village to raise a child. We got Pastor Johnson up here. Hakeem the Dream.
Definitely, we definitely want to take notes and make sure that we can implement this. And women, if you do have a man, try not to force him out of the house. Do whatever you think is possible to keep him in the house. Because if the presence of a man in the house has more value than a house that don't have a presence of a man in the house. So we definitely want to, you know, help build stronger families. Because stronger families, stronger communities, and stronger community represent much more greater needs that we're going to definitely have to have in the upcoming future. Because if you have a child, that child going to grow up to be an adult one day.
That's right.
And the better selection that he has out there, the easier it is for you.
All right. Let's go now. I want to talk about some Hakeem the Dream. You gave some startling stats about fatherhood. Drug use contribute to lack of fatherhood. Violent crime, alcohol abuse, all of this contribute to lack of fatherhood. But you know what? Fortunate for the community, let me just make this point. I see you on the phone caller. We have money on the former President George Bush. He unveiled, this was in 1998, $315 million for a responsible fatherhood package for nonprofits. I want to know why can we get these nonprofits, and I'm going to talk to Jimmy about this, to start tapping into some of this money when we're affected by lack of fatherhood more than anybody else. Let's go to the phone lines. Welcome to Honest Opinion, keeping it real, making it happen. What say you, caller?
Yes, assalamu alaikum. Yes. I'd like to bring one thing forward. The one-eyed monster that we all have in our house. An example. Many years ago, there was a program called The Odd Couple, about two men living together as homosexuals. Presently, today, there's a new program called Happily Divorced, about a woman and a man homosexual living together. And this has become prominent to make homosexuality in the house acceptable when it shouldn't be. And we need to be careful of that one-eyed monster that comes into our house when our parents are not home and they're talking to our children. We have to be careful to police what comes into our home through that television. I greet you. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay. Thank you so much, caller. We really appreciate that. Hakeem the Dream.
Well, another thing too is back on the father, and we appreciate that caller because we know the environment in our home. We got to be careful whether it's coming through the TV, radio, newspaper, or either friends over. I mean, especially when there's young children involved, we definitely have to protect the environment of that. So be careful of these television. And another thing too, I would just like to share this point with you, is that back in the days, and I say that, but I don't see much happening right now. We had what we call stepfathers. Even if he wasn't a father to his own children, he could become a father to someone else's children. And then still the rule would be there. Because sometimes in life, you're not able to get along with the mother's not able to get along with the biological father. But that don't mean that you can't be a true father with some house, because so many of our households need fathers that I'm sure that if you want to obligate yourself to fatherhood, then there'd be plenty enough household that would welcome you with open arms. So with that, I want to share a little something with you, and we're going to discuss that too. The tape Elliot.
Okay.
This is something here that I want to add to our conversation, and you feel free to pound, you know, talk
So we're going
about
to get back to that fatherhood initiative I talked about with Jimmy before we get to that, because I want to know about this $315 million. All right. Go ahead with this.
Okay?
It's on.
Right.
There's a man at my house, he's so big and strong. He goes to work each day and he stays all day long. He comes home each night looking tired and weak. He sits down at the dinner table
Hey, brother, how you doing?
and has a bite to eat. Never frown, always smile.
Bad jam. I didn't know about that. It was in position.
I said that I've been standing all
Thank you, sir.
trying very hard to understand the goal.
What you call it?
And I'm father.
Color him father.
Color him love.
Color him love.
Said I'm gonna color him father.
Color him father.
I'm color man love. Yes, I will.
Color him love.
He says education is the thing if you want to compete.
Education.
Because without it, son, life ain't very sweet.
I know that's right.
I love this man and I don't know why, except I'll need his strength until the day that I die.
Culture community don't
My
make
mother
songs.
loves him, and I
Just
never
fine, just
tell.
fine. You know, make
By the way she looks at him, when he goes out
making it
to
rain
hell.
This was all part of this movement to elevate the social status of our people. Artists was involved. They was involved.
Time I turn my swag over.
Color him love.
I didn't make no music like this.
And the music good. Word and the music.
Easy now.
Break it down. Honest opinion over here.
That's all right now.
And she knows she is
1 minute left on this song.
That's all right. Anna. That's all right, Anna.
She said over.
This 1 minute gonna be better than kind of life on it.
And he took us here. And now we belong to the man with that big wide grin. I've got to color this man father. Color him father. I'm gonna color him love. Color him love. I've got to color him father. Color him father. I'll color this man love.
All right, 30 seconds. I'm gonna turn the mic back on, and you can within 10 seconds go ahead and start the dialogue. Okay?
Color him father. Listen to the words of that song when the culture community was involved in empowering our people, and that's what we got to get back to. This is a wonderful thing. Hakeem the Dream had creativity. Let's go to the phone line and get some response. No, we ain't playing music. This is still honest. Keeping it real, making it happen with a little music this morning. Just trying to lighten it up and tighten it up, but fathers got to be celebrated just like mothers got to be celebrated. Let's go to the phone lines. Welcome to Honest Opinion, keeping it real, making it happen. What say you, caller?
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
What's up?
Yeah. It's the brother who's saying, the brother from the plantation. I'd like to weigh in on the conversation, a beautiful conversation, but we have to realize that it takes two to raise the children. And Almighty God gave the job to the woman. The woman is our first teacher. The man is mad, and that means man is mad. What you put in this man ought to make him a man. That's why she got to either teach the boy child how to be a man to a certain age until the man thing. But that's why I said in the beginning was the word. God, all you know to email, but you have to know, y'all forget about the word. It was the word. And so we have to use the right words and the right man to produce the right product. So y'all would know that it's all about the word to be a man, and thank you for letting me share. And a nice topic and a long time listening.
All right, thank you, my dear brother. All right, let's go to Jimmy. Jump in that microphone. There's a lot of money, and I'm sure the President of Barack Hussein Obama's administration, we have some of the same money out here for fatherhoods. Why can't we get more nonprofit organizations, 501c3, to tap into this money? What is the challenge for tapping into this money when we know like a fatherhood is running rampant in our community?
Well,